Welcome to the Living Proof Recovery Podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Evan. This is Brian.
What's up, guys?
Tonight we have a special guest with us. Chris has come out to share some of his story and his experience, strength, and hope with you guys tonight. So we will go ahead and jump right into it. Let you go and kind of introduce yourself a little bit.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate you. Hi, everybody. My name is Chris, and I am an alcoholic, and I have a sobriety date of August 16th, 2023. I was going to give you guys a little backstory of my life a little bit and kind of go from there. I was born in Louisville, Kentucky, and I was born in an area called Portland. And in Portland, I had four older brothers, had a younger brother and sister, I had a mom and a father. And I went through a lot of childhood trauma, a lot of things that happened in my home. That's kind of what started for me. That's what I suffered from as growing up as an adult, is childhood trauma. But in that home with my parents and stuff, with my brothers and my family, I saw a lot of things that were just not things that a child should not see. I seen my mother pull knives on my dad. I seen my dad pushing my mom through walls. I seen my mom and dad fist fights. I got my arm broke when I was 3 or 4 from my dad pulling me too hard. I remember my brothers digging out of the dumpsters across the street. I remember there being one mattress in the house. Upstairs, there's one mattress, and we all slept around the house wherever we could fall asleep at. And there's feces and urine around the house. I went to a school called Englehart Elementary. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Englehart. I think it's on 1st Street, down in Old Louisville. And we lived right down the street. The house is actually still there. They just remodeled the house that we lived in. I remember going to school one day, and the principal wouldn't even let me come into school because I smelled so bad. They would not even let me into school. I had feces and stuff. They wouldn't let me in school because I was, the smell that was coming off of me, they just couldn't have me in school. So they called my mom. My mom had to come down to school and take me home. I remember her getting mad that day and throwing a whole bucket of paint on the floor. Paint went everywhere. I remember times that, my dad would beat us with belts in the bathroom when we were 3 or 4 years old. And we were neglected. I was neglected physically, emotionally. I mean, I was malnourished. But anyways, that was my introduction to life. That was my introduction to who I was as a human being on this planet. So at 5 years old, I was in the alley right over on Preston and Oak Street. My Aunt Libby still lives over there. She still lives over there. I was in the alley, and a police officer had pulled up, and what the police report had said is that I told the police officer, well, first of all, I was in just a diaper. I had no shirt, no shoes on. And the police report said that the officer asked what I was doing, and I told him I was looking for food for me and my little brother. So that day, that's the first. I mean, now that I look back in my life, that was God intervening in my life to help save my life. So that day, me and my little brother went to a home in J-Town. Their last name was, I'm not going to get the last name, but she was a great woman. She owned a business here in Louisville, and he was a firefighter. The husband.
Through foster?
Yes, foster care. So I went straight from that house at the alley that day straight into an emergency foster home.
Oh, okay.
And I rode the police car. So that's the first time I ever been in a police car. Also, that was the first day I ever met a dog. Like, we never had animals in our home or anything like that. But that was the first time I met I'd seen a dog for the first time in my life, I think when I was 5 years old. But we went into this home with the Hollands. There's the Hollands. Anyways, they wouldn't care because they're phenomenal people, and they helped save and direct my life into a better life. But anyways, we went from absolutely nothing, digging out of trash cans, to having everything that we ever wanted in life. Me and my little brother did. And I didn't adjust well to it. My little brother, he didn't get that. It's as much of an experience as that I got with my parents. So I'm going to use this because I teach recovery dynamics. I'm going to use this real quick, though. My programming into the world was distorted, completely distorted. The way that I looked at life was completely distorted. So I didn't adjust well with going into a foster home. And when I went into this foster home, I continued like the same exact behaviors that I saw my family doing. the things that I saw that was, subconsciously or programmed to me. That was the way I lived my life.
Well, it's even because at such a young age, we pick up on those things.
Mhm.
You know, like my kids will act the same way I act today. You know what I mean?
Right.
If they see me acting a fool, they're going to act a fool.
Yeah.
You know, it's learned behaviors,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So sure.
Yes, that's absolutely. It's a big key in my story. So from 6 to 11, I stayed with the Hollands. They did everything they could to try to keep me, and they would beg me, Chris, please just listen to us. Please don't do that. Please don't do this. They tried medicine. They tried counseling. They tried all kinds of hospitalizations. I've been in that home. I probably went to Timbrook probably 5 times. I went to a lot of places as a child. Respite, Caritas. I went to all of them. And they couldn't figure out what was wrong. But the truth was that I would go in there and lie to the therapist, and I wouldn't tell them the truth. I was dishonest, and I was scared to tell the truth. I was scared what people would say about me. That was what it was. And I would go there and say, I'm okay. I'm okay. I don't know. I don't understand. And I would lie to them. But really on the inside, man, I was lost. I was hurt. I felt like I had no purpose on this. I had no idea what I was here for. I didn't understand.
Spiritual malady.
Yes, I was suffering from something that I did not understand. I had no connection to another human being. And my mother neglected me emotionally, and I just had no connection. I didn't understand what love was when I was in that home. So, anyways, 11 years old, they had enough of my crap, stealing stuff. I was harming my brother. I was just doing inappropriate stuff. That was just. It wasn't something suitable for other children to be in a home with, So we went to counseling one day, and I sat in the counseling chair, and I remember the vibe or the mood that my foster mom was giving me, and I just started crying. I broke down crying. I said, "You're getting rid of me. You're getting rid of me." She said, "Chris, I can't. I don't know what else to do." So I remember them pulling off, and I was trying to beat through the glass, and my little brother, and I got put into a place called Home of Innocence for the first time, and. You would think that I said, it's time to change your life, Chris. It's time to do something different in life. And
You were how old here? 11?
11 years old.
11 years old.
Yeah. And you'd think the consequences from that would kind of but it didn't, man. I started gravitating towards the older boys in the Home of Innocence and the people that were doing inappropriate things, So that's what I did. I gravitated towards that kind of stuff. And when I gravitated towards that kind of stuff, my life just kept getting worse. So I went to Home of Innocence, and I went to a foster home out in the country. I was bouncing back and forth to different places. And then another great family tried to step in and help me change my life and show me love and teach me what love was about. And their last name, she was a teacher at a school, and her husband was he did just different jobs, nursing home. He worked at an upholstery place. And I got set in this family that were Catholics, sent their children to Catholic schools. And it was another chance that God was trying to change my life and send me in the right direction. And my thinking and the distorted way of life that I'd been viewing, the way I'd been viewing life was still distorted. And I had done no work on myself at this time. So I was still suffering from a spiritual malady, and I was still suffering from not being connected with another human being on this planet. And I continued to do the same stuff. Nothing changed for me. And I continued, and continued to, they put me in different homes. They put me in different hospitals. I went to Timbrook probably 2 more times in that place. I went to I went to try medicines. They tried therapy, and I'd go in there and do the exact same thing. I'd go lie and tell them a lie. That's all. Lie about everything. I'm okay. There's nothing wrong with me. And I look back and I'm like, man, if I would just started opening up to a therapist or somebody, made my life a different direction at the time. So at 16 years old, I did some inappropriate stuff at the school. Writing on walls and stuff like that. And we're talking about a Catholic school. I mean, these people sent me to a Catholic school for 3 years in middle school. And then I went to DeSales High School. And they were paying for all this stuff. And they were trying to give me the best possible life that somebody like me could have from coming from where I come from. And I did not adjust still. And I continued doing inappropriate things. I started smoking and trying to hide cigarettes in the house and just doing inappropriate stuff. And they had 3 other kids, and they didn't have a choice but to get rid of me or to let me go.
Do you think that was all part of like a some type of defense mechanism though? Not just the unfamiliar of having someone that you did these things to not allow someone to be close to you?
Absolutely.
There's probably a lot of low self-worth, self-esteem, things like that. Like, I'm not a therapist, obviously, but I would think that upbringing, you're probably thinking, all these things are here, but I don't deserve them.
Right.
Is that am I hitting home on that?
100%.
Yeah.
I was diagnosed with something called reactive attachment disorder. It's a rare thing that kids get when they don't have an attachment to their natural mothers or whatever. So, yeah, I didn't have that connection with nobody. I felt lost. I had that void. I had that hole before I ever picked up a drink or a drug. I had that hole. So, anyways, they got rid of me. I went to the Home of Innocence, or I went to Boys Haven. Boys Haven kept me. The McGuires that had adopted me, that last family I was just in, they asked me to if I wanted to come back home, and then the Boys Haven asked if I wanted to come back home. They said, "Look, we got an apartment for you." So I literally walked out of their lives after 6 years of them trying to help me. I just literally said, "I'll take an apartment. It's a free apartment. I'm 16 years old." So I literally walked out of their lives like they weren't nothing to me.
They gave a 16-year-old an apartment?
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, it's called pre-independent living through Boys Haven.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a kind of structured apartment, so you have therapists and stuff, but you kind of live on your own. But they put me in this apartment, and I literally walked out of these people's lives like they didn't matter to me. And that was just part of my trauma that I'd been through. It wasn't something I was like, oh, I don't care about these people. Just the way the trauma had made me. So I got into this pre-independent living program, and you would think that I would start flourishing and get a job, and absolutely not. Absolutely not. So I don't want to say too much on camera, but I started hanging out with the wrong people. We started doing inappropriate things. Yeah. So detectives came to the Boys Haven place a couple times for people, and I never got trouble, and that's part of the problem too. So I'll get into that part. I never got caught for nothing that I did, except when I was 18. I decided to take somebody's truck, and I went on a high-speed pursuit with the police, and I wrecked the truck. I flew out a passenger side window. I was in a coma. The truck caught on fire, caught these trees on fire on a high-speed pursuit, and woke up in the hospital. I did 10 days in jail, and it was just a slap on the wrist. Hey, don't do that again,
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I just caused chaos. I just almost drove through somebody's house. I was in a coma. I could have killed people.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, wow, I got away with that one. I'm cool now. So now I've got the street stripes, and now I'm like, ooh, yeah, I'm hard for it.
Yeah.
So I did 4 months house
The
arrest.
last thing you needed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing that could have happened to me. So I stayed on for house arrest for 4 months, and I was on house arrest for 4 months, and I did continue doing the same stuff. Now this time is kind of when I started, people started introducing me to substances and drinking and stuff like that.
While you're on house arrest?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm on house arrest. I'm literally on house arrest, becoming a worse human being, becoming the worst person on house arrest. I'm supposed to be like rehabilitating myself, but they never even came to my house. I think one time did a breathalyzer, and I was literally on the back porch smoking a substance, and I know the officer smelled it. I mean, there's no way that he did not smell it, but he didn't say anything. I did my breathalyzer, so I got off HIP, and I got probation, and a year later, I continued the same old stuff. A year later, I went to prison for the first time, car hopping, doing some ignorant stuff in the neighborhood.
You were how old at this time?
I was 19.
19.
So I had the wreck in 18. At 19, I went to prison for the first time. I got 5 years. So I got 5-year prison sentence. And I did my sentence. I got a 12-month flop, did my sentence. I did my 12 more months. I went back up for parole. They paroled me out. I did almost 2.5 years for that. And then I did good while I was in prison. I got my GED, did my classes, tried to do what I could to be in the right, the right direction. And I got out and I did good for a while. I lost everybody's contacts from the past. I severed ties from the past and everybody in the past. But for some reason, man, I had to get back in the past. I was on the right track in life. For some reason, I had to get right back into it, man, start pulling people from the past right back into my life. And when I did that, it didn't turn out so good, I think I ended up getting my parole revoked 6 months, 8 months later. And I went back to prison, finished that sentence, continued the same bull crap, man. Substances. And all these times, man, I've never in my life sat down and got on my knees and asked God for help or nothing. I've never done it. I just thought, we were just here. There was nothing to it. We're just floating through life. You die. That's it. That's the way I believed. I went to prison again. I went to prison 2 more times. So I've been to prison 4 times. I've been locked up over 25 times. I spent 18 to 30 years old every single year incarcerated for something or in prison. So it was on and off. So that was my program. I had programmed myself to be comfortable in prisons and jails. Institutionalized. Yeah. As a child, I was institutionalized. And God tried to intervene with these great people in my life, and I just can never see it. One thing I want to say before I forget is that God doesn't come down here on a chariot or Jesus or He don't come down on a plane and say, "Hey, you need to change your life." He sends people in your path to help direct you to where you need to go. 100%. So I continued the same old stuff, and at this time I was using substance that kept me up a long time, on days on, and started getting, I started becoming delusional. The CIA's out to get me. They were chasing me. Everybody, the CIA. And I moved up to Lafayette, Indiana, or I ended up throwing a brick through the courthouse windows downtown Louisville. I was on the news for it. They were going to try to PFO me. I was looking at about 20 years for it. And I went to a institution where they did a mental evaluation. I was, for the first time in my life, I got honest with the doctors. And I said, man, I was fucked up on something. Excuse my language. I was messed up on something. And I was not thinking right, man. I thought the CIA was out to assassinate me. I thought people were going to kill me. I was running up and down 6th and Jefferson that morning, on a Saturday morning, screaming and yelling, running up on people saying, help me, because I was so scared. And I think the outcome would have been, if I wouldn't have ended up where I ended up, was somebody was going to kill me or I was going to kill somebody, because I was so scared, or they would be so scared of me. Mm-hmm. So I didn't throw a brick through the courthouse windows, and I'll be honest with you guys, man, something overcame me, and there was a brick right next to a window down at the courthouse, and I ended up picking, it's the only brick down there in the whole city of downtown Louisville. I ended up picking that brick up and throwing it through the windows, and it saved my life. I wholeheartedly believe that me throwing that brick through that courthouse windows saved my life that day. Because something bad was, I felt the impending doom. Mm-hmm. It was coming for me. So I threw that brick through the courthouse windows. I did my court stuff, man. I was looking at 20 years. I was in jail. I never got a thought to one time to get on my knees and say, God, please help me. Somebody out there, please help me. I never did that one time. After 8 months, I went to court one day, and they dropped all charges. And I think that was because I was honest for the first time in my life, and I told that doctor the truth. And I said what I was really experiencing. And I truly believe that at that time that the CIA was out to assassinate me. And I think that he saw that I was really telling the truth. And he said, they did a mental evaluation, man. You could call me crazy or whatever. I was crazy at that time in my life. I was suffering from mental health majorly. And I did what I did. So you'd think after that, you would change your life. Not me. So I'm thinking, hey, Chris, this is Chris. It's everybody else that's the problem here in Louisville. It ain't me. You know, the book describes, it's not me, it's everybody else. It's the jobs. I can't get a job. It's everybody knows me, so they're gonna hit me up for for whatever. It wasn't that. That was not the case. Because I went up to Lafayette, Indiana,
And with you.
and I took me right up to Lafayette, Indiana, and within a month, man, I was using the same substance I was using in Louisville, and I was on a college. I mean, it's like a college town, And I'm thinking in my head, like, I'm like, how the heck? How did I find it so fast or whatever,
You're what, like 30 at this time?
I am 30 years old. Yes. Yep.
Sorry, go ahead.
So I'm 30 years old at this time. And this is when the story gets started. This is when God starts. So when I was believing that the CIA's out to assassinate me and stuff, man, I wholeheartedly believed that it was God trying to send people or something unworldly that was trying to steer me in a direction. And I fought with these people, and I was running up on these people's vehicles. I can't explain what I'm trying to tell you, but it was the CIA again. But now that I look back, I'm grateful for what was happening. Anyway, I got up there, man, and I'm gonna tell you the first time in my life, I laid in the bed after I was up for a while, and I felt something trying to leave my body. You can call it, I don't know if it's a soul or whatever. Maybe I was tripping. I don't know. But it made me open my eyes up for the first time in my life. I felt something trying to leave my body, man, and I jumped up out of my bed like I was trying to catch it. And I can't explain it. I don't know. I'm grateful for that moment, whatever that was. But I'm grateful for it because that week, man, I really started thinking about my life, man. And I started saying, something's about to happen for my life. I felt the impending doom. I had a black cloud following me everywhere I went. And it was like God was trying to tell me something. And I went for a walk one day, and there's a bridge over in Lafayette, Indiana, where there's some. It's a beautiful bridge. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Lafayette, Indiana.
No, I'm not.
But there's two bridges, and it goes into the college campus town. And I'll never forget this. I was walking up the stairs, and the sun was over here. So the sun was there. I was walking up some stairs, and this beautiful woman was coming across the bridge and about to walk down the stairs. But she did this. She looked directly in my eyes. And then she looked at her watch. And it looked right back at me.
I got time for that. Is that what you was thinking?
I was like, my time's running out. I was like, man, my time's running out. It's the message I got from it. I was like, man, my time's running out. So that night, I ended up feeling so shitty about myself in my life. I got on my knees for the first time in my life, man. I wrote a letter to my son and my daughter. I had two kids right before this, back to back, with a mother. I don't have them children anymore. I've lost both of them due to my decisions. But they were put into a home. They're together now. They're safe. And I've reached out to the foster parents or their parents, because I was not able to be that parent. I repeated the same cycle that my family had done, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to get to the good part. None of my family has their kids. Nobody in my entire family has their children. Nobody. None of my brothers, my family, everybody's lost their kids in my family. There's nobody in my entire family that's been able to keep their kids. My entire bloodline that I know of. Anyways, I lost my two kids in that part, and earlier in my story. And I got on my knees that night and I said, I wrote this letter to my son and my daughter that I lost. And I said, why I chose the life that I chose. And I cried. And I wept and I cried for 2 hours. And for the first time in my life, I said, God, please help me. Please help me. And I didn't even believe in God. I never believed in God, did not believe in God. And I believe when I did that, man, I felt something happen to me. I can't explain what I'm trying to tell you, but something happened to me that night when I was on my knees, man, and I asked God for help. I believe I signed a contract with God that night that I must kill self in order to live. Mm-hmm. I killed self, and that's what I had to do to live and continue my life. So that the next day, man, I ended up throwing my drugs in the toilet. I ended up throwing my cigarettes in the toilet. And I quit everything the very next day. And I went on a 5-mile run through Lafayette, Indiana. And I mean that with everything. And something had happened to me. And I'm so grateful for whatever happened to me that night in that room for 2 hours when I cried to God and asked Him for help for the first time in my life. And the reason it's so important to me, and the reason that this, my entire family, nobody has their children. Nobody has ever gotten to recovery. They've tried, and they're all, I've got 3 brothers incarcerated right now in Louisville Metro. And I talk to them sometimes, and I help them out when I can. But I have to keep that line, you know. I'm the only person that ended up quitting drugs. And I'll get to some better parts real quick. So I ended up coming back to Louisville about a month later. I quit drugs, quit everything, man. I'm sober, and I'm going through a spiritual experience like no other, man. I'm feeling the presence of the Holy Spirit, man, all through me, man. It's the first time my life, man, that I had a void that was filled up.
Mm-hmm.
The drugs, I didn't need the drugs no more, man. I was feeling life for the first time. I was feeling the presence of the Holy Spirit, and I was walking hand in hand with something that I just did not understand. It was the most beautiful feeling. It was one of my mentors used to say, it's better than anything you ever smoked, drank, or laid on top.
It is. It is.
It was the greatest feeling I ever, and I felt like I had arrived into life for the first time. That void was gone.
Reborn.
It says it in the book. We are reborn. It's like our old programming has been wiped clear,
Like it changed, yeah.
and we're allowed to.
So at this time, when you come back to Louisville,
Mhm.
you said you were 30 years old at this time,
Mhm.
and were you involved in any type of fellowship, or was it church? Was it, a 12-step, anything like that when you came back?
Yes. So when I was in Lafayette, Indiana, and I got sober, and I had nothing up there. For the first time, a preacher came to me and said, "Hey, would you like to know more about Jesus after this spiritual awakening?" I mean, I'm so filled.
Right on time, bro.
Woo! I said, absolutely, I want to know more about Jesus. And I took his pamphlet, man, and I stood there in the hallway for 20 minutes talking about Jesus for the first time in my life. I did that. And
So just to point out real quick, you are no longer disconnected. You are now connected to something.
something.
And that's what, yeah. Go ahead.
So I called a guy. I'm not going to say his name because he's part of Alcoholics Anonymous, but he owns a business. He's a successful man. He taught me a lot of things in life. He spent a lot of time trying to teach me in and out of my bullshit.
Mhm.
He tried to teach me all kinds of things, and he taught me so much, and it's made me a lot of who I am today. And I want to say his name, but he knows who he is. He owned a business, a tile business and a remodeling business. Anyways, he came to Lafayette, Indiana. He came back and brought me back to Louisville. He worked for a while. Me and him God had other plans for me. When people start butting heads, man, it's kind of time to move on. It's nothing personal. It's just something God's got for you, right?
Yeah.
So I ended up at our father's house. I don't know if you know where that is, but I went to our father's house, man. I met a man. I'm not gonna say any names, but he's been sober for about almost 30 years this time. He taught recovery dynamics. I started his IOP, so I started another place called Laser Promise. So I was doing 2 programs in one, and I was grinding my ass off, man. For the first time in my life, man, I said, I'm going to do whatever it fucking takes, man, to be somebody in this world. And I grinded, and I ended up being our director of our father's house. I ended up learning. I sat in the front row, man. I wrote notes. I did everything I needed to do, man, to get that and retain that information because I wanted to do something different in my life. I did all this, man. The day after I graduated the program at our father's house, man, it's the girl that I'd hung out with a girl for two different times, and she ended up pregnant. She told me she was pregnant. And I went to my sponsor. I said, "Hey, what do I need to do?" And he said, "Just do what you're supposed to do, Chris. Just keep doing what you're supposed to do, man. You're doing a good job. Just keep doing what you got to do, man. It doesn't matter what anybody else does, whatever anybody else thinks. It's not your baby, all this other stuff, man." I just did what he told me to do. For the first time, I allowed another man and another human being to tell me what to do, and I followed the directions that they told me to do.
That's the key right there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I went to a program called Alcoholics Anonymous, and I got super involved, man. I was the first one there, would hold the door for everybody. I just did the extra, man. I did what other people would not do.
And you know what? By doing that, you made me think of something earlier when you were talking about grinding. The people that grind get what the other people don't. Because the people that don't grind, they don't get it.
Right.
So you're getting things that other people aren't getting because you're doing things that they're not doing.
Right.
Right.
I just went above and beyond.
Yeah.
I didn't want to just slide through like I'd done my whole life in jails and street life and
You're
shit.
desperate.
I was desperate.
Yeah.
I was desperate.
Mm-hmm.
So I did everything they told me to do, and I got a job, and started working. I would go work residential third shift, get off at 7 in the morning, I'd ride my bike, or I'd take off running. I was running and stuff, man. I was running to Indiana and back to Louisville. And, I'd run to work every morning at 7 in the morning. I worked security on 2nd Street downtown at the college. And I started building, this is an important part. I started building relationships with people. Because my mentor told me, he said, man, Chris, it's not about what you can do. It's about the people you build relationships with. The people that you build relationships is the key to the success of your life. You know, you can't just go through life being by yourself. You can't. Alcoholics Anonymous, you can't do it by yourself. Business, you can't do it by yourself. There's nothing in this world you can do all by yourself besides get some peace and quiet in a room by yourself. That's it. That's the only thing that was one of the main things that I learned early in the process. So I had the day that my child got out of the hospital. Her name was Kalina. It's the most beautiful baby in the world. She got out of the hospital, and mother was still suffering. And she was doing her best. She was still suffering. My daughter was born colicky and withdrawing from methadone, and she was screaming 24/7. Mom was struggling.
Were you were sober at this point?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd been sober for a year, 6 months, and I was sober, and I was director of a father's house, and I was working with clients, residential. I was part of AA. I was going to meetings every night. I was sponsoring men, and I was doing everything they told me to do. And one night, like a month after my child was born, mom was struggling, and I brought her to a place called Ladies of Promise, and a bunch of women came together that night. I'm not going to say any names because they're part of Alcoholics Anonymous, but the owner of Ladies of Promise came in the room at 11 o'clock at night because she had CARP accreditation the next day. She ended up, CPS was there that night, and they said, well, we're going to have to take your child from you because I was not, blood work was not done yet to say I was the father. So a woman that owned the facility had walked in that night, and she took her to see my daughter for me. And a bunch of women that came together, and they stepped in to help me and teach me some things. So when I got sober, a bunch of men came together and they taught me how to get sober, and I did what they told me to do, and my life started changing. The same exact concept was when I had my child. I let some women help direct me and help me into becoming a better father and to learning how to do things with a child.
This was a part, I heard you speak a couple weeks ago at a meeting, and this was one of the parts I heard you talk about where I was like, man, that's fucking powerful right there. Just how they took you in and everything they did for you to teach you with your child. I was like, that's amazing.
It was God. I was in the right place at the right time. If it wasn't for the women, man, there was times I wanted to drive a car into a tree. I didn't know what to do. I've never changed a diaper in my entire life. I never took care of a dog. I've never took care of a frog. I've never took care of nobody but myself because I was selfish and self-centered my entire life. And at this time, when I'd walk in hand with the Holy Spirit, I knew that there was something greater out there that was going to help guide me, and that this was a challenge that I needed to get through. This was a challenge I needed to get through, and I was going to do whatever it took to get through this challenge with this baby. I had no idea what I was doing, but I got in front of it. I asked for some help, and I called a bunch of people, man, and they taught me how to change diapers. They taught me how to make a bottle, and there was a specific family, and I'm going to say their name because they're not part of Alcoholics Anonymous. Catherine Hahn and John Hahn, it's my last name now. They adopted me. They would go around the state and pick up breast milk for my daughter because my mom now, her name's Catherine, she's really adamant on children having breast milk instead of, store-bought milk. So she bought me a big freezer, and I have a bunch of women's breast milk in my house, all packaged up. And these people she came out of the woodworks with that. She would come over at 10 o'clock at night. She would take my daughter for me. This family had stepped in and helped me with a baby. They had they knew me a little bit because of my walk that I've been walking for a while. and they stepped in and took my daughter from me. Or not took my daughter from me, but they would help me with my daughter. I'd call them at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. Hey, she won't stop screaming. What do I do? I mean, I'm freaking out, you guys. I mean, this was the hardest thing I think I've ever had to accomplish sober. And they stepped in. I would call her at night and say, "Hey, what do I need to do? She's crying. She won't stop. Well, did you check her diaper?" And I was like, "No." And I checked her diaper, and it was just her diaper. She needed a diaper change.
Where did the batteries go? Like,
Yeah.
where do you put the batteries in?
That's how clueless I was on a child. I had no idea what I was doing. But it was the most amazing thing. These people came together. The Hans came together for me, man. And they sacrificed and to help me and guide me to be a father. So,
And, you know, like it says in the big book that willingness is indispensable, right? And none of that is possible without some willingness on your part, right? Because they can give you all the suggestions. Your sponsor can tell you all the right things to do. But if you don't have the willingness and the humility to ask for the help and to take the suggestions and then follow it up with all the action, then none of that happens, right? So
Yes, sir.
willingness, I mean, that's what was going on in my head when you were talking about that. I was like, man, this guy's willing. He was willing to do something different.
right.
And that's where a lot of it starts.
Right.
Right. So I
Absolutely.
cut you off. Go ahead.
No, it's so I did what other people told me to do because when I do what I want to do, I end up in penitentiaries and jails and on the streets and harming people and hurting people.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Chris does when he's by himself. So I allow other people into my life today to help direct me and help change me into who I am today. And I don't do that so much anymore because I've kind of got a little bit and I have a connection, I've connected with something greater than myself.
Mm-hmm.
But so anyways, I did whatever I had to do. The day my daughter got out of the hospital, I was able to go buy my first car in recovery for the first time. I'd been saving my money and I was like, I will not let my daughter come home on a TARC bus or in a cab or in somebody else's vehicle. So I went and bought my first car off of Dixie Highway. I can't remember the name, but they allowed me to take that car that day because my daughter was getting out of the hospital. And I paid them some cash, and they didn't even make me sign the paperwork. They trusted me. I gave my ID and everything, and I'm grateful for them people. But I was able to get me a Mazda 6, drive to the hospital, and go pick my daughter up in my own vehicle that day. And
That's a big deal.
Woo!
That's a big deal, man.
Woo! That's one thing I do a lot. Woo! So, man, so that was a big deal for me. And I did what I was supposed to do. And I met a woman, man, and I've made mistakes in my sobriety. I don't make so good choices sometimes. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't. But I know how detrimental a bad choice can be today. I know what harming somebody can do today. And I know what harming myself can end up affecting a lot of people around me. So that happened, and then I ended up working, doing what I was supposed to do. I ended up getting on the news instead of doing something bad this time. Being on the news for throwing breakthrough courthouse Mondays, I've been on the news for I was walking with Spectrum News. I was walking down the waterfront holding my daughter's hand, and they were talking about how I was a single father, fresh in recovery, and helping other people at the same time. And it was a great feeling. It was an awesome feeling. And, so I made the news there, and then I ended up going to a ceremony where I got a standing ovation from probably 200 people or so. And I got an award called the Hope Award for grinding, sacrifice, and doing what I was supposed to do as a grown-ass man for the first time in my life. I was getting the rewards of sobriety and God. I was starting to get the rewards of these things, man, and I started feeling good about it. And I'm sorry for crying, but
Oh, you're fine.
it started changing my life, man. And I just started doing what I was supposed to do like a grown man, like everybody else in the world that does what they're supposed to do. And I started feeling the rewards from it. And so I got that reward and an award. And, I just continued pushing and pushing and pushing, man. And I started a business. It was called Conquer Handyman and Renovations. David and Goliath. It was my symbol, my logo was David and Goliath, the little boy that defeated the giant.
Mhm.
And then I just continued pressing on. I've worked for facilities. I've done peer support. I'm a peer support specialist today and a CSA. I'm a residential manager for 7 houses, around 30 clients. And I help other people change their life. And I show them a better way in changing their life, a better way to change their life. I remain positive. I do my best to be positive on a daily basis because what I've learned from the time of getting sober and today is that positivity is way better than negativity. So I encourage people and I don't bash people because I was the same person that they are today. There's no difference between me and them. And I do whatever I got to do to help people early in recovery to get their life on track.
There's no better job in the world than that either, right?
It's not even work.
Exactly.
It's not.
Right.
It's not even work for me.
That's the way we've talked about it before, but that is our job today. But it's like you said, it's not even work, but it's the most rewarding part of this whole thing is giving back and seeing the light come on in someone else.
Yes.
That is
it's
our
incredible.
job in recovery. Self-sacrifice for others. Like if I want to receive, I have to give.
Yes.
It's a paradox, right? You think, well, if I want to be well, I need to take care of me. No, what I need to do is take care of someone else, and by doing that, I get taken care of, right? So something that I kept hearing throughout what you were just saying, right? And I love the emotion, right? Because it's real and it's raw, right? But what I kept hearing is just because you made it right to where you are now, you didn't stop grinding.
Mm-mm.
You're still grinding, right?
Yeah.
And that's the key. It's like because it's real easy to let up on that, rest on our laurels, right? Like I got an award, man. Look what I did, man. I was on the news. People like me now, so I can chill.
No.
Like I have arrived,
That's
right?
bad.
But that's not what's going on here, right? And that's where a lot of us, unfortunately, fall into that pitfall. Things start getting good,
Yep.
and it's like, oh man, I'm feeling myself. Like, look at me, look what I did.
Right.
But that's not what I'm hearing here. I'm hearing, no, I'm still grinding.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing what I got to do, not only just to maintain what I have, but I want to grow what I have.
Yes.
And that's what I'm hearing from what you're saying. Like
Yeah.
that's what I'm picking up is that you're content with what you have, but you're ambitious to want more. There's a difference between being discontent with what you have and always wanting more. Like this isn't enough. That's not what this is. This is like I'm content with what I have because I've worked hard for it, and it's this is all good. But God has more for me, and I'm going to go get it. And that's the only way I'm going to get it is if I go after it.
Yeah, sir. Yes, sir. You're absolutely right. I mean, you're hitting on the head. There's no stop to this thing. You're either I signed a contract, man, with my higher power, and I said, hey, if you save my life, I didn't say this, but this is what happened.
Mhm.
I let God intervene into my life because I was going to die if I did not.
Mhm.
If I did not let God intervene and ask God for help that night, I would not be here today. I'm here by the grace and mercy of a loving God. And he saw something, he saw fit for me to live and saw fit for me to help another suffering alcoholic or addict today. And it's crazy because sometimes in life, man, you go through life and then you kind of get to this ceiling, you get to a ceiling and you kind of, sometimes people just stop there and they kind of get back down and they kind of stay where they're at for a while. And I feel right now, I just met somebody, he's in business, he travels the world, and he's one of 34 people that's made it in this business that he's part of. And I don't want to say his name because he's not part of Alcohol Styles or nothing. And he's going to teach him everything he knows. And it's I feel like I'm at that ceiling where I got to put some extra work in now. Because if I put in the extra work right now and I learn the skills that this guy does, he goes around the world traveling and speaking to people and motivating people. If I'm able to learn these skills that this guy is going to offer to me, and it's free, by the way, for me. He's allowed me to do this for free, and I'm going to take every bit of advantage of it that I can. I am going to study, grind, fail, study, grind, fail, study, grind, fail, and hopefully one day I will make it. But it's not about the money for me, and it's just the same way you guys have started this right here. It's not about the money.
No.
It's about putting good faith, and it's about putting positivity into the world and helping somebody else change their life. And hopefully, the story that you guys are, these stories that you guys are allowing on your show will help people change their life. And hopefully that I am successful in business, and I want to be successful in business. I want the money so I can, in return, start my own facilities and start helping people and motivating people in a bigger scale to change people's lives. That's my goal. That's what I see, and that's what's going to happen for me, is I'm going to make what I have learned here in Louisville, Kentucky, and I'm going to take it as far as I can, whether it's with, I think you guys have an awesome setup here. I think that you guys, what you're doing here, I've never seen this right here, what you guys have done. I've never seen it. This is the first time that I've ever seen a podcast like this, and I'm really proud of both of you.
Thank
You
man.
both are
It
doing
means a
it.
lot.
No, I mean that with everything in sincerity and everything. This is a big deal that you guys have going on here, and I hope this goes around the country. I hope you guys grow this thing, and I hope it goes all around the country and all four corners. Because what you're doing here is different, and the world likes different, and that's what you guys are doing. That's my little spew. So that's my little spew. If y'all got any questions for
But
me.
yeah, so so the shift, right? There's this huge shift that I heard throughout the whole story,
Mhm.
right? So early on, it was me, low self worth, low self esteem, all these things, right? Like I can't do anything, basically, right? And I don't mean that in a derogatory
Right, I
way,
understand.
but now, look at you, like you're capable,
Mhm.
like you're not afraid to fail.
Right.
It's like, oh, if I fail, okay, just try again, And I think that is admirable, right? Because a lot of us we're afraid. We're afraid of failure, and I think that's kind of a normal emotion to have
Right,
that
right.
most people have. I don't want to fail,
Right.
right? But the only way that we succeed is through failing
Mhm.
most of the time, right? Because if everything just comes easy to us, there's no growth there. We don't, and then we don't appreciate what we have because we didn't have to work for it. We didn't have to grind. We didn't have to fail, to really appreciate what you have now.
Mhm.
And I love seeing the psychic change, right? So, I mean, the way I can see it in you, the way you think, believe, act, it's totally different than what it was 5, 10 years ago.
Mhm.
It's just a total shift. And that's a really powerful message because there's someone that's going to listen to this that is thinking, yeah, this thing works for them, but not me,
Right.
because I'm different,
Mm.
right? Or I've got the worst luck in the world, like you said earlier, black cloud is following me around, and in a short period of time, everything that you've accomplished is a miracle. I mean, it really is. Like that's miraculous for something like that to happen,
Yeah.
and it just goes to show if we put in some work, what can happen. And we don't know. I don't know what's in store for me tomorrow. But if I keep showing up, I have a lot better chance of achieving that than if I don't.
Yes.
So yeah, hats off to you, man. Like I love the grind. Like I love it.
Thank you, man.
So you've been sober now for, you said 2023.
Mhm.
So coming up,
2 years.
Right.
yeah, coming
Dude,
up
that's
on 3
amazing.
years now.
Yeah, I had so in 2019 I got sober, and I had a 1 week relapse. In 2023, I decided to go back to a substance. I don't know why I did it. Actually, I know why I did it. I know why it happened. Because Chris decided to stop going to AA. Chris started doing the inappropriate
We knew
things.
why.
Chris, yeah, we all know why.
Yeah.
Somebody harmed me. I felt that they harmed me, and I decided to
That
just
resentment.
got a resentment, sat in my house, and did what we did, man. And for a week, my spirit
Mhm.
said, "You better stop." And it just wasn't me, man. And I had to. I woke up on a Sunday, I think it was a Sunday. I woke up, put my feet on the floor, and I said, "I'm done." And I went back to my sponsor, and I did what I was supposed to do to get back on track. Yes. Yeah. The 2019 is when I got on my knees and asked God for help. And I have I said some important things here, some slogans. And somebody told me these, and these are important because it helped me change my life. These little things I'm about to tell you. Consistency overrules everything. So if you
In
stay,
any walk of life.
yes, children, families, AA, work,
Fitness.
whatever, fitness. Consistency overrules everything. You suit up and you show up every single day, no matter what. You shoot up and show up, man, and you're going to eventually grab a hold of something.
It's like the tortoise and the hare.
Yes, you
Yeah.
keep grinding.
Slow and steady.
Yeah.
Be fast out the gate every time.
Yes. And then this is a really good one here. I had master teachers my whole life, man. Or no, but in the last 5 years, I've had some really strong teachers teach me. Guy taught me recovery dynamics, and I sat in the front row. And I had the guy that owned the business. He taught me a bunch of business stuff. That's why I was able to start a little business for myself. Self-employment, I guess, not a business. But anyways, he said this to me. I remember him coming to the hotel one day, and he stood right in front of me. And he did his little steps with it. He said, "Forget who you was, find out who you are, and watch who you want to become." And I've took that, what he said that day, and I've applied that in every aspect of my life. The people in AA that had something I wanted, I jumped in their back pocket and I did exactly what they told me to do. The people in business, I've jumped in their back pocket and I've done exactly what they told me to do. The people that had kids, when I had my daughter, I did exactly what they told me to do. And it works out when we get outside of ourselves and we take knowledge and different perspectives of other people we apply to our lives. So yeah, that's another thing that that's really been driven, helped me drive through life in the last 5 years. So those two things there. Yeah.
It makes me think of in the big book, it talks about in the 10th step, where it talks about we have entered the world of the spirit.
Mhm.
And what that means to me is I'm no longer living in the past,
Mhm.
that I'm living in the present, that I'm looking towards where I want to go.
Right.
Right. And that's kind of what that makes me think of is my past happened.
Mhm.
You know, I can look back at it sometimes, but I'm not living there.
Right.
You know, I'm not looking at the dark constantly doesn't tell me anything about the light. Right. So I'm not living in the past. I'm in the present today. And, you know, they say like focus on today. Right. And so I try to do that, but with where I want to go in mind.
Yes.
You know, so it's a growth mindset
Yes.
that we have to have because I don't want to just maintain what I have. I want to grow it. Like,
Yes.
yeah, go ahead.
No, you're either going towards, or you're going for something, or you're going backward. I mean, you're either
Yeah,
going forward or you're
going
going
or
backward.
going.
There's no middle of the road solution.
No.
There's no middle. You can't just half-ass it or just kind of get by in this thing. You have to continue to progress and continue pushing on a daily basis. You have to try to be better than you was yesterday. You have
So give an example of that, right? Like, so what would middle of the road solution look like for Chris versus what you do today?
a middle of the road solution for me would be me not suiting up and showing up for my family. Me not suiting up and showing up for my daughter. Half-assing shit,
Doing the bare minimum.
doing the bare minimum, putting shit off. That would be inappropriate for me because I know what that will lead to. Because I've had many failures in my sobriety. I've had failures on jobs and stuff like that I've learned. Oh, the most important thing that I've learned in my sobriety is this: when you fail, when you relapse, when you do something inappropriate, if you don't learn why you did it, then you're going to continue the exact same thing. You need to look back, learn what you did, so you can change the outcome the next time if you fail again. If you fail, you got to learn from it. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, and if you learn from it, did you really fail?
Right.
You know,
Right.
but if you don't learn from it, you 100%
Yes,
fail because
yes.
you're setting yourself up for another failure.
Yes.
You know, like we say, like nothing changes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my favorite passage in the book is chapter 5. Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple
So the key part in that line right there, right? And a lot of times, so we read that in every AA meeting, and you hear it so many times that a lot of times it's just want. You're just hearing it. And you're like, okay, I'm just waiting for this to be over with. But when you hear that, rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path, right? So that hit me one day, and I was like, oh, it's not my path.
Yeah.
I have to follow their path. I have to follow what they did, not what I want to do, not what I've come up in my head of what recovery looks like. If I follow their path, because that book is based on their combined experience, if I follow the instructions in there, then there's a really good chance that I will not fail.
Right.
I just got to get out of the way and not follow my path.
Right.
You know, that's why I hear a lot of times people say, I'm working my program. I'm like, let's try working the program.
Yeah.
You know, instead of your program. Let's try working, I know what they mean.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like, let's try working the program.
Don't work my program.
Yeah.
I don't got a good program.
Yeah.
My program is jacked up.
Exactly.
So yeah, this has been a good important tool too. This, picking up your phone and calling somebody when you're
Yeah.
when you're really struggling.
Mm-hmm.
You got anything else you want to
Um,
leave them with?
Don't give up. Reach out for help, and you can do it. If I come from where I come from, the life that I came from, I was programmed I was institutionalized, programmed into destruction. I was self-sabotage my entire life every single time. It wasn't even the drugs and alcohol for me. It was who I was that was causing my life to just destroy itself. And I was just using alcohol and drugs as a substance, as a coping mechanism for who I was and what I had gone through. That's what I was doing. That's something we teach where we're at. But yeah, don't give up. Keep pushing. You can get through it. If I've done it, these guys have done it. We're going to keep grinding. You guys keep doing good. We're going to keep pushing all together, man. If somebody needs me, you can always reach out to one of these guys. I appreciate everybody for listening.
Woo! Woo!
Let's go.
I appreciate you coming out too, man. I know I'm glad our paths have crossed.
Yes, sir.
When I heard you speak for the first time, I was like, man, this is powerful stuff. So I appreciate you coming on. I know Brian does too.
Absolutely.
And hopefully we can do it again sometime.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I just really appreciate it. And I know somebody's going to hear something they needed to hear.
Yes.
You coming on here.
Yes. I appreciate you guys having us.
Yes, thank you.
You guys did a good job. I tell everybody that, man. You guys did a good job. We're going to keep pushing.